Android Studio Masterclass. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. This course will teach you all about Android Studio. If you can understand how to use Android Studio, it will help you develop your Android apps faster and with ease. Most people will start Android development and don't understand the IDE, which could be a problem. Failure to understand how the IDE works, and in this case, we are talking about Android Studio, will hold you back, get you frustrated since you know how to code, but you cannot make the IDE work with you. We will begin by installing the Android Studio and then go step by step through the entire program. We are going to learn from installation to creating your first project, debugging your project errors, building your application, project structure, emulator, learning your application on a different device, that is emulator, physical device, the project structure, and even much more. So let's get started by installing Android Studio. Let's begin by installing on a Windows computer. Open your Google Chrome or any browser that you are using. Type Android Studio and click enter. You'll see download Android Studio and SDK tools. Click on it. Then click download Android Studio. Go through the terms and condition and then accept the terms and condition. Click download Android Studio and automatically it will start to download. As you can see, this is a very big file, so I have already downloaded it and we are going to use the one that I downloaded previously. So I'm going to minimize this one, and then this is the file that I had downloaded, so I'm going to install it. Double click on it. Please wait. Click next, 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 and then install. So give it some few minutes or seconds to complete installing. Click next and then finish. So you can minimize this one. As you can see here, our Android Studio have installed successfully, so we were able to download and install it successfully in a Windows computer. And here we are presented with a welcome screen, that is welcome to Android Studio. Create new project to start from scratch. Open existing project from disk. Here you can do customization, plugins, and you can learn more about Android Studio. Now let's install on a Mac PC. Open your Google Chrome or any type of browser that you're using and then type Android Studio and click enter. The first one will be download Android Studio and SDK tools. Click on it. So you'll be provided with this website, that is Android Studio, and it says Android Studio provide the fastest tool for building apps on every type of Android device. So click download Android Studio. You'll be presented with terms and conditions. Go through them and accept the terms and conditions. Select the version of Android Studio that is light for your Mac. So we have Mac with Intel chip and Mac with Apple chip. If you are not sure whether your Mac has Intel chip or Apple chip, just go to your left top corner, click the Apple logo and see about this Mac. You will be able to see whether you have Intel chip or Apple chip. In this case, I'm using Intel chip, so click on it. Android Studio will start to download automatically. And since it's a bigger file, as you can see, it's 950 MB. I've already downloaded it. Let's minimize this one. It's here. Double click on the file and then drag it to the application folder. Wait for Android Studio to finish copying Android Studio to applications. Once that is done, double click the application folder and you'll be able to see your Android Studio here. To open it, double click on it. Then Android Studio will ask you whether you are sure you want to open it. Just say open. It's going to load. And there you are. You have successfully downloaded and installed Android Studio on your Mac computer. So in our next episode, we are going to learn about different options that Android Studio presents to us. Like this is GitHub. You can create a new project. If you want to customize, you can select different themes, plugins, and you can also learn some tips about the Android Studio from here. To create your first project, open Android Studio that you just installed. Android Studio. It's going to open and then you'll see this message, welcome to Android Studio. And then create a new project to start from scratch. Open existing project from disk or version control. So if you want to create a new project, we are going to use this one. If you have an existing project that you want to open, you are going to open it from here. And then if you want to get a project from a version control like GitHub, Bitbucket, you are going to use this one. So in this case, we want to create a new project. So click new project. Then choose the type of project that you want. So it's either you want to create for phone and tablet, Wear OS, Android TV, or automotive. In this case, we are using phone and tablet, and we want to use this template known as empty activity. So click next, then give the name of your project. I'm going to call this one first app. Give the package name, that is the domain, plus the name. Most of the time, Android Studio will autofill this one for you. The save location, where you want your project to be saved. The language, whether you want to use Java or Kotlin. Let's select Kotlin. Minimum SDK that you want to use, and then click finish. So Android Studio is going to load your project. Give it some few seconds. Once Android Studio is done loading your project, configuring dependencies and libraries, this is what you're going to see. Here we have the project structure. Here we have code editor window. We have Kotlin files. We have XML files. We have this visual editor. We have Gradle scripts here. We have other window panels, as you can see, and different tools and settings, which we are going to look into as we continue with this course. Now, let's look at the project structure in an Android Studio. Each project in Android Studio contains one or more modules with source code and resources file. So as you can see, we only have a single module in our project. By default, Android Studio displays your project in Android project view. So what we are seeing here is different from what our project looks like in the disk. If you want to see how the project looks like in the disk, just go here to the Android and select project. and this is how it looks like. But by default, Android Studio displays it in Android project view. That is Android. The view is organized by modules to provide a quick access to your project's key source files. So as you can see, we have app here, we have manifest, we have Java, we have Flash, and then we have Gradle scripts. So each module contains the manifest, which has manifest.xml. This is where we declare things like permissions, your intent. If you want to declare a permission, you can say like uses permission, and then you can have something like internet. And then we have Java. Java contains all our code. That is, let's open and see, like this one, we have our main activity. This is the code for our main activity. It can be Java code, it can be Kotlin code. And then we have less folder that contains non-code files. So non-code resources, we mean something like XML layout, this one. Then we have UI strings, these ones. We have images which are stored in a drawable folder. And then we have build Gradle. We have the top build Gradle and how project build Gradle. This is the project build Gradle, and it's where we declare most of our library, if you're using external libraries, and dependencies. Just note that if you want to see the full project, how it looks like in your disk, you just need to go here and select the project. But if you want quick access or to use Android project view, just go to Android. And then your project will be arranged in modules. Each module have manifest, Java, and less. This one contains non-code resources. This contains code resources. And this one contains manifest file. Manifest file is where we declare things like permissions. Let us now look at the main window of Android Studio. So as you can see here, we have the code editor. This code editor allows us to edit or modify our code. It changes depending on the type of the file that is opened. For example, if I open a Java or a Kotlin file, it will allow me to easily edit. If I open an XML file, it's going to change to a layout editor. Also, here at the top, we have a toolbar, which contains a set of tools that allows us to perform different actions. For example, we can be able to run our project here, we can be able to do version control here, and we can be able to manage our emulator using these tools. Here we have navigation bar. Navigation bar provides us easy access to our file structure. You can be able to navigate. For example, you can go to less layout, and maybe you need activity main XML. Here we have tool window bar. It can allow you to expand or minimize specific windows. You can do this for project, you can do this for resource manager. Here at bottom, we have status bar. Status bar displays the status of our project or even our IDE. So if, for example, here we can see we have 2 error logs, then we have a message here saying a new version of Kotlin is available. So basically, that's all we need to learn about the main window of Android Studio. To search a file, a class, a method in Android Studio, all you need to do is double click on the shift and then type what you want. For example, I can decide to search main activity. It's going to be displayed, then I can just press enter. It's going to take me directly to that class. I can decide to search for this function. I need to double click shift and then I just say init data. It's going to tell me init data is in main activity, and when I click on it, it's going to take me here. So you can do search for a class, for a method, for a file by just using a double click on the shift. Most of the time when working on an Android project, you will find yourself that you require to use external libraries. So in this episode, I will walk you through how you can be able to install APIs or external libraries using Android Studio. So go to your project structure, then on the bottom, that is Gradle script, open the Gradle, the build Gradle under the module of your project. And then within the dependencies, this is where now you put your dependency or the library that you want to use. For example, a common library known as retrofit, if you want to use it to perform external calls, you can just go to your browser and type retrofit. Then press enter, open the square, and it's go here. You'll see somewhere written retrofit configuration. We have Gradle here. You just need to copy and then paste it, and then get the latest version. To get the latest version, go to the GitHub here, available on GitHub, and look for the latest version, that is 2.9.0. Paste it there. Sync your project. And that is done. That's all you need when you want to include or to install new APIs. To access retrofit methods, you can just go to your class that you want to use it. Have private fun test retrofit, and you can now be able to call retrofit. It's here, and then use it. Retrofit is mostly used to do API calls, but this is an illustration on how you can be able to use external libraries in your project. So let's delete this one. By default, Android Studio builds your project in debug version. If you want to release your project out there to the public, you need to change the build variant to a release version. And to do that is what we are going to cover in this episode. Just go to the build version on the tool with the bar, click on it, and here you can see active build variant. Just click on it, you'll see debug and release. If you want to do a release to the public, click release and give Android Studio some few seconds to build for release. You might want to build for other devices, requirement, other features, so you can create a custom build variant. To do that, just go to build type and add the build variant you want. Like you can have staging, and maybe you want to do minified to be true. After you add, you need to sync your Gradle. And here you'll notice now we have staging. You can select the build variant that you want is staging. So Android Studio has that capability of managing the build variant that you want to build. By default, we have the debug version, when you are doing a release to the public, you do a release version. You might want to have different features for different build variant. You need to create a custom build variant and indicate that this build variant will require Android device for this level, Android device with these specific features. So to build that's all that you need to understand when you want to do build variant. Once you select the build variant that you want to deploy, you're now going to build an APK and share it with your family or friends to install on their devices. And in this case, because I'm just developing for local debug, we can have the build variant as debug. Then to build the project, go to the build here on top, and then select build APK and build an APK. This might take some few seconds. Once the build APK is done, you're going to get this message, APK generated successfully, and to locate the APK, click locate APK, and you are going to find it here as the apk.debug. If you want to test on a phone, on someone else's phone, you just copy this file and give it to someone else to install on their devices. It's .apk. Android Studio helps you analyze your project so that you might see which files are bigger, all different aspect of your Android application. So to analyze your application, all you need to do is to go to build and then build APKs, and here you'll have analyze the APK. It's going to open the APK and then you can be able to analyze your APK. You can see here we have manifest.xml. You can have which SDK it uses, the permission. Then we have Kotlin directory here. Remember this, okay, HTTP3 is because of the external library that we added, that is retrofit. You can see your less folder that contains non-code resources. Within it we have files, but they are encrypted or abstracted so that an external party who accesses your APK cannot reverse engineer it and get the source code. Then you have the colors, everything that you need for your APK. You see, like this APK, less folder has the largest files, that is 238.2 K. The classes.txt, that is 3.3 MB. So that's all you need to analyze your APK. Our APK size here, we see it's 7.3 and the downloadable size is 3.9. Now we are going to look at how you can be able to create an emulator in Android Studio. An emulator is a virtual device that allows us to test our mobile application. So to do so, go to your tools and then AVD manager. As you can see here, I've already created one emulator, so we are going to create another one. So select create a virtual device, choose a device definition, choose the device that you want. For this case, I'm just going to choose Pixel 3a and then click next. That it has 5.6 inches, so I'm going to click next. Here you're supposed to select a system image. Remember, if you're not if it shows download, it means it's not yet downloaded, so you just need to download and select it. For this case, R is already downloaded and Oreo. You can use x86 and others, but I prefer using the recommended, and I'm going to choose Oreo. Then you can see here we recommend these Google Play images because this device is compatible with Google Play. So click next. Here you need to verify configuration. You can give it a name, you can see test device 1. You can just leave this one and add some name just to identify it. The device, you can see it's 5.6, it's Oreo, orientation, and then click finish. So your device is now set up. You can use it to test. To learn this device, you can click on this button. It's going to launch, as you can see. It might take some few seconds as it is preparing some Android features, more so when it's a first time launch. There we go. You have a virtual Android device that you can use to learn your application or to test your application. These are your applications. When you install a new application, you'll see it here within these other applications. Our emulator is up and running. So let's discuss the features of this emulator. As you can see here, we have the 3 buttons, just as a normal physical Android phone. We have back button, we have home button, and we have an overview button. Here we have power button, we have volume up now and volume down button. You can rotate this emulator if you want to test your application in landscape mode. You can just use this one. Here we have camera. You can zoom this emulator. Then we have other features here like location. You can use it for maps. Cellular, if you are using cellular network. Battery, to check the battery condition. Maybe you want to check if it failed good, the charge level to test. You have camera, you can have dial, you can send messages, you can call using this emulator. Directional pad, it has microphone, you can test microphone using this emulator. If you're developing an app that requires fingerprint, you can also use this one. Virtual sensors, you can use this one, like you can go light, you can rotate left to see virtual how it's going to behave. Then you can also use it to test bug reporting, snapshots, recording and playbacks, and also to test Google Play. So this emulator contains a lot of features that you can use to test. If you're developing an app which requires location, you can use this. Cellular network, you can use it. Battery, you can use it. You can test as many features as you can test on a physical mobile device. Now let's see how we can be able to deploy our app in an emulator. So I'm going to minimize, cancel this video. I'm going to cancel this one too. And now deploy our app in an emulator. All we need to do is select the emulator that we want to use. We have already created this one, and click this button that is going to run our application. So let's see what is going to happen. As you can see here in our status bar, Gradle build learning. So let's give it a couple of seconds to finish learning. Remember here, you have to select the emulator that you want to deploy your application to. So here the application is installing, it's launching. So as you can see, our first application, our first project has launched successfully. We have first app and the title is Hello World. So it's very easy to deploy an app in an emulator. To deploy your application on a physical device, just as we did on the emulator, simply connect your device or your phone to your PC or your computer. And then after connecting, make sure your device is allowed to use developers mode and to use USB debugging. If it's connected to developer mode and USB debugging, you are going to see it here listed among the learning devices. Now to deploy, select your device and click the Learn button. So as you can see, learning and then launching. If I check my physical device, it has already installed successfully. So that's all you need to debug or to deploy in your physical device. To create a new activity in Android Studio, all you need to do is go to your Java where you want to locate your activity, and then select it, select the package name and create new activity and select the type of activity you want. In this case, I'm going to say second an activity, an empty activity, and then the layout name, we can change this one to we have home. So if I change here, you see here it changes to home activity, and then source language, the one that you want to use. I prefer using Kotlin. You can set it as a launcher activity, and you can also decide to generate a layout file. So if you change here, it changes here. So layout name is not varied. Resource name H is not a varied resource character. So remember, we use lower cases. And then click finish. You can add to Git and then click add. So as you can see here, project is syncing. Give it a couple of seconds. There we are. As you can see here, we have our home activity, and if we go to layout, we get activity home. That's how we add a new activity. If it's a class that you want to create, just select the package and then say create a file. You can create this file and say this is model. Then you'll have your class model, and this is a file. You can decide to have a package name, this package, and you can say maybe I want this one to be UI, and within this one I want to create a new class. So Kotlin class, and I'm going to have users. So that's all you need when you're creating an activity or a file. Now let's look at the code editor. For example, if we want to edit the code inside our main activity and have another function that says private fun show message, and inside here Android provides something called toast.makeText, and this, and we can say my name is ... comma, then we have toast.length, which say this is length long dot show. Then you can call this method here. This is now how you edit or modify your code. For example, if we can learn this in our emulator, it's supposed to be different. This is what we had for the first time, but the Gradle is still learning. Let's wait for this change to get deployed. There it's storing. Let's see what we get. My name is, that's the toast message we get. So you can be able to easily edit your code. Maybe this model, you want to convert it to a data class, and inside here you want to have something like val username of type string. You can have so much like val password of type string. So any file that you want to edit or code that you want to edit, just double click the file. It's going to open in the editor's window, and then you can edit it. Now let's look at XML Editor. Remember, we were editing code, and now it's XML. For example, we have activity main. So once you double click the file, it's going to open in the editor's window. The good thing with editing XML file is that when you click on it, it opens Layout Editor. The Layout Editor gives you three options, that is the design, the spread, and the code. So for this case, we are in the design. These are elements of an Android application. This is the design window, and this is attributes. For example, if I want to add a button using the design, I just drag it, can position it there, and then attributes will appear on the far right. So maybe I want to change the ID and call this one button login. I want to change the constraint so that it comes at the I can position it at the center. So I'll give this one 0 and this one 0. Then on top, I might want it to be top, and then bottom, the same thing, can to be in center between top and this hello world. We can give width 0 so that it enlarges, or we can do a lap content. Then we can change even the text color and say the text itself, we can say hello. And then you can play so much with this attribute, change so much, and once you learn your project again, you'll see the difference. So we are expecting a button to appear here. Let's see. There we are. So that is design editor. You can use spread, which spreads between the design and the code. So you can do manually editing of the code here. For example, I want to add another text view here. Lab content. I want it to be bottom of parent. I want to have the text as text, and then I want to align it center. So I have start of parent, and then I can have end of parent. We can give it even top margin or bottom margin so that it appears top, that is 15. So we have our text here. So it's about playing with how you place, or where you place your elements. Remember, I'm using constraint layout. You have different types of layout. We have linear layout, we have constraint, we have relative layouts. All of those have different attributes of positioning elements within the view. So let's learn this one and see whether we'll get this text. And there we are. My name is, that is for code editing, and this one for XML editing. Sometimes your app grows to be a bigger project that has multiple files, and once it grows, you need to refactor your code. Refactoring means you can optimize, whereby you can remove unused resources, unused IDs. And to do that, what you need to do is go to the Android Studio. At the top of toolbar, you'll see refactor. Click on refactor, and then for this case, we can decide to remove unused resources. So it's going to delete even unused ID, or we can leave them. If you want to delete unused ID, just check this one. If not, you uncheck it, and then you refactor your code. If you want to change your code or to migrate from native Android support libraries to Android X, you use this one. And then if you want to enable instant app support, you just enable it here. So refactoring your code is that easy, but can greatly help to improve the quality of your code and even save you learn time, whereby your application can be able to learn at a faster speed, and removal of unused resources, making the APK or the final application look smaller. Now, let us see how you can be able to create a debug log. So let's assume you are learning your application, and when your application reaches to this level, you want to write on your logs that you have reached to the method that shows a message. So we have different types of log. You can do a VBLAS log, you can do a debug log, you can do an info, a warning, a error, and all an insert. For example, we can say that log dot. Now you can do an error, you can do a debug, you can do an info, all these ones. This one is info, this is VBLAS, this is warning. So for example, we are going to do info, and what we need to do is have the tag. A tag is an identifier for that specific log. For example, I can say this is a message and say reached show message. Let's learn this again. So our application shows this, and now we need to see the errors that are showing. You can filter using this one. As you can see here, we have reached show message. It's this one. You can do it as E, that is for error. If you are doing something like try and catch within the catch block, you can show log with error. You can see now reached show message. So that's how you create a debug log. If you want to debug or to check what happens at a specific point within your code, for example, we want to know when our application reaches to this level, we can place a breakpoint and then run a debugger. For example, we have placed, you just need to place on the line that you want, and then here on top, within the toolbar, click this debug up. Let's see, waiting for the debugger. So as you can see here, our application is showing blank. That's because it's a breakpoint. And then we are on the method called show message. It's here highlighted with a tick. And then when we want to go to the next debugger, we click continue. So let's see. And then when I click continue again, our application is going to show this toast message. So mostly the debugger or the breakpoint allows us to debug our application at a specific place. Maybe you want to test what this method returns. You just place the debugger there, and when it reaches there, it gives you details and information up to that specific point. Remember, when you're doing debugging, you don't use this icon, you use the debugger icon. It's here.